This episode, we're going to focus on a Pacific Northwest flair because we're filming this in Seattle and we want to use some local food and show you how to make a great dinner with that. So I've got some salmon that I'm going to roast. We've got some asparagus and peas, and then I'm making an Orzo salad with some Walla Walla onions that are from Washington. So first we've got the salmon, and it's a lovely day in Seattle, and we went to Pike Place Market this morning to pick up some fresh salmon.
Excuse me.
Yep.
Did you catch it? Did they throw it to you? No?
No, we didn't go to that specific one. But let me do tell you about where I did go by. Back in the day, I'm talking 30 years ago, another one of the fabs, and I would take delight in going to the market, and we would saunter by ever so gently one of the fish markets. There's about four of them there, but one across the street, and we would saunter by because of the fishmonger there was especially handsome. Okay. So we would just walk by and try and be elegant about it and not have him notice. And he looked like Michael Douglas. Oh, and
which was a big deal 30 years ago.
Back in the day. If you don't know who Michael Douglas is, sorry, but if you know, you know. So when we went to the market this morning, I casually went by that specific fish market. I didn't buy from it, but he wasn't there. I was kind of disappointed.
Wow. But you still had your youthful walk and all
that.
Yeah.
Sway.
Yeah, yes. It's very good, very good.
So we got 2 pounds of king salmon, and that's a good size for a family, to feed a family, or if you're having guests over. And it's a pretty big slab here, and I'm going to put it here. But let me show you what we're putting it on. It's a cedar plank, and this is a fail-proof way to make salmon. I've made it in parchment paper. I've roasted it just open without this, but using the plank is the way to go. You can buy it at grocery stores. They have it all around the country. You don't have to be in Seattle to get it. And somehow it just holds the moisture into the salmon while it bakes or roasts. And so you have to submerge it in water for about a half an hour, and that way the wood's not dry and it doesn't burn if you put it on the barbecue or you put it in the oven. So this is the only way I do it anymore. So we've got the salmon. This is kind of thick in the center, but that's okay. We'll have different kind of gradients of it being done, which is fine. And then simply going to put some salt and pepper on it. I'm going to start with some salt that the fab that we mentioned, Doreen, gave me as a gift. It's salt from San Juan Island, which is northwest of Seattle. There's a group of islands there, and there's a company that makes different kinds of salt. So I think whenever I make salmon, I use this salt because I think it's fitting to use salt from the area from which the salmon came. It's just kind of fun that way. So just sprinkle some salt on for flavoring, and this is pepper. This pepper is actually from Zanzibar. It has nothing to do with the Northwest, but it's a nice pepper. So you can see it's just kind of simple there, and just pat that in.
Only one side?
Yes. So we've got
not
the skin.
On the skin side.
Thanks.
Okay.
We've got the skin on the bottom here, and when we're finished, I don't like skin. Some people do. I don't like it. So when we're finished, and I'll show you later, we're going to scoop the salmon off of this, and the skin will stay on the plank, and then we've got a nice fillet of salmon. Then I made a sauce. You could use maple syrup to put on this. You could use maple syrup and Dijon mustard. And I'm going to put some on now, and I've saved some for later that we'll pour on as we plate. And just put it on, just rub it on. It's just that simple, and again, it will impart some taste there. And then you notice that I've got the plank on top of some parchment paper, and that's just, there's going to be some of the sauce is going to ooze off, and it just makes for easier cleaning. If we were putting this on the barbecue, you would just put the plank right on the barbecue grill. So that's ready to put in the oven, but now I'm going to move to the asparagus. And this we got at the market also this morning. It's really pretty. It's got some purple in it. And they always come rubber band, which that's how I get my rubber band stash, is by saving those. And I always cut off the bottom third or fourth of the asparagus because that's what was in the soil. It doesn't hurt you if you want to eat it, but it can be a bit woody, so I just always take that off. So just cut it like that. And now I'm going to put the asparagus on the pan to roast. Again, we've got parchment paper. Roasting directly on a pan does actually taste a little better, but it can be really rough to clean up. So I'm doing it this way and just putting a little olive oil. Anytime you roast a vegetable, you need to have a little oil, and I like olive oil. And you can just do it right here. It's all that simple. And as you've heard me say in other episodes, we want to spread things out as best we can so they don't steam. And asparagus is especially important that you don't want to steam it because it gives it a very different flavor, different texture. And just lay it out like this. And we're going to roast both of these at maybe 400, 375, something like that, depending on your oven, for about 20 minutes. I wanted to also share with you that this asparagus, we're going to spread on some peas on top of it. Then it's nice in a spring type of salad. So we got some peas at the market also. And this is what English peas, which are the peas we eat in the U.S. for the most part. This is what it looks like before it's been shelled. So Yuta's going to show you how to shell this, and you snap the top of it off, and then there's a sinewy spine, and you take it off like that, and then you can just open up the pod, and
In it
there
goes.
it goes. Yep. Yep. So there's nothing like a fresh pea because they're just so nice and sweet. So we're going to do that, and I think we're good to take things over to the oven. We're going to parboil our peas. I don't want to cook the peas through. In my opinion, peas never need to be cooked through. They just need to be warmed because otherwise they lose their texture. We're not eating English mushy peas. So we've got that going, a little bit of salt. So we're going to turn the peas on just on a low simmer. And now we're going to move to the orzo, which we're going to start with sauteing some onions, as we do at just about every meal. Some olive oil. And I've got the onions diced already. You could put garlic in as well, but I'm trying to highlight onions here. These are Walla Walla onions. They're from the state, and they're nice and sweet, and they're well known in this part of the country. So that's what's making this Northwesty. So we're going to saute this for a while. The onions look pretty good. We want them slightly browned, so they are. And now I'm going to add some stock. A lot of people, for any pasta, use water, but I'm doing an all-in-one pot, so I want some flavor coming from the chicken stock. You could use vegetable stock if you like. So it's going to sizzle here. Oh, not too bad. And you always need more liquid than you have pasta. And if we have too much stock, we'll just drain it off. So it doesn't have to be perfectly measured here. Okay, I'm going to turn this on and bring it to a boil, just like you would if you were using water. I've pulled the asparagus halfway through. I pulled it out, and I'm just moving it around here. It's looking good. I probably want it to roast for about 10 more minutes. Spread it out a bit. It's hot, so you spread it out like that, and in it goes for its final roast. The salmon's still doing well, looking good. All right, the chicken stock is boiling, so that's time to put in the orzo. And anytime you put pasta into salty water, you've got to just put a little in, and it will often boil up like it just did there, and then you can add the rest. Because otherwise, if you don't do it that way, it'll poof up all over and you have a big mess and have to start all over. Okay, about that much orzo. And orzo, people get confused between orzo and risotto. Orzo is a pasta, risotto is a rice. So they're two very different things. I'm cooking this kind of like a risotto. If one of our other fabulous women friends, Romina, heard me say that, she would be upset because she's Italian, and there's only one way to do risotto, and there's no comparison to orzo. But I am doing it a bit like that because we're going to end up with a little creamy sauce here. So we're just going to let that boil for a while, stirring frequently.
I'm surprised you don't take the peas out
I could.
and get them.
I could. So you don't have to be surprised.
This might need a little bit more stock.
Okay. Oh, that's about right.
It's
for me.
okay?
Yeah.
All right.
I'm going to turn it off. Perfect. So the orzo is just like I like it. See how it is a bit, it looks creamy. Oh, that's just the stock. It's al dente, which is the way we want any pasta. Just a little to the tooth is what that means. So I've got that, and then I'm just going to add some lemon juice here just to brighten it up. Lemon juice is always good for that, and we just pull out the seeds because you don't want to expect that it's orzo and chomp on it and break a tooth. And then I've got some herbs. These are, this is parsley and this is thyme from my garden, just chopped up for some color and also some vibrancy. And there we have our orzo with Walla Walla onions.
That's the salmon you caught.
Michael Douglas and I caught it, that's
Good.
right, yep. Okay, so that looks great. It's been roasting for about, I don't know, a half hour or so. And I'm gonna get the asparagus. It's done too, looks pretty good. And notice how the asparagus, when it roasts, it gets a lot smaller.
Yes,
Yep.
you sure will.
Yep. Okay. All right. Going to plate things up. We already have our orzo. I just took it out of the pan and there it is. We'll top that with some cheese later. And now we're going to plate the salmon. And this is messy business here. We're taking it off the plank and we've used it up. You only use the plank once because it gets crispy, dried out, and salmon gook on it. So it's just one and done. And I mentioned earlier, I don't care for skin. So I'm trying, it should have cooked well enough that I'm just kind of sliding the skin off.
I think that's important. You're not going with the grain when you cut it. You're cutting against the grain.
I'm cutting against the grain, and I'll probably cut like this for serving sizes. And then I'm just cutting where it's split naturally.
Yeah. But I think it's important to say that, otherwise you would just tear it apart.
Yeah, and I might just pull it apart just a tiny bit here, just for presentation. Looks perfect.
It's
this
beautiful.
king salmon is deep, deep red and pink inside. And anymore, you cook salmon just a little bit underdone. Okay?
Why?
That's just the way it's done now, so it doesn't dry out.
Okay.
Yeah. And then I have a little bit of this great sauce left, and so I'm just going to drizzle. Add some flavor. Flavor. We're all about flavor. I had a bumper crop of apples last fall and made enough applesauce to feed a kingdom, and decided I want to make some chutney. So chutney is cooked apples. They're diced, cooks down a little bit like applesauce, but then spices are added. Cinnamon, usually a pepper of some kind, so it's got just a little bit of heat. So it's sweet and savory, and it goes really well with salmon. So I'm just going to put this kind of on either end of, people can take it if they want. You could serve this on a dish or in a bowl, all of it, all on its own, but I'm just doing it here.
It looks really nice.
Yeah, and the color goes well with that. And then we've got some really nice sliced lemon, and salmon and lemon are married, or at least cousins. Maybe they're married cousins, I don't know. And it just People can, if they want any to juice onto that, they can. You know what, I'll just put some here. And then we've still got some herbs from the garden. Okay, so there's the salmon. And now we're going to plate up the asparagus. So this has been cooled. It's still warm, but it's cool. And we're just going to have the kind of fan it a bit. Maybe these got a little crispier than you might want. It's up to you. I like them crispy, but you do you. Just make it however you like.
Greg calls it vegetarian fries.
Yes, that's a
'Cause he
good way
really
to do
likes
it.
them.
You know what asparagus does to you, and it doesn't change that. You know, it's notorious for getting in your system and having a certain odor, but it doesn't matter if you roast it or you boil it. Okay. And then we've got our English peas that you shucked, and we're just gonna kind of make it
very cute.
just
That's
bring
good.
up
That looks
some
good.
green color there. And then to top this, I made a pear vinaigrette. And it's just regular vinaigrette, olive oil and vinegar. And for sweetness, I cooked down some pears. And so just peeled them, diced them, cooked them down, and added it to it. And added a little bit more olive oil. And then the green you see is tarragon. And that's an underused herb. And it does look like this. And it's got the licorice of basil, but then a little something else that just makes it great for tarragon. So I'm going to use a bit of that. I was looking for my spoon there. Yep, okay. And just a little drizzle. You just want to get a taste.
I really like the different shades of green. It's very pretty.
That's probably enough. We can, this
Add
vinaigrette
this on
saves,
the side.
yeah, another thing to add to the side.
I'm going to make whipped cream for a lemon raspberry dessert. Oops. This is 2 cups of very cold cream, heavy whipping cream. And as you might remember with the egg white yesterday, I have to beat it just a little bit before I can put the sugar in. So here goes. It's very important to check it, because if you over whip it, it'll turn into butter. But this is perfect. So I can take this out, put the whole thing in the fridge until I need it. To complement Anne's wonderful dinner, the salmon mostly, I have decided to make something also that contains lemon. First of all, I have whipped the cream. As I said before, it's very important. And nothing will hold together like real whipped cream. Then I'm just adding some limoncello. It's not homemade. I'm sorry, not limoncello. That's later. It's lemon curd. And I'll just mix that in to start the cream. It'll change the color, makes the cream a little bit softer. But all that will work in our favor here. Even if you have a couple of streaks in there from the lemon curd, that's not a problem, because I think everybody who likes lemon will like to find a vein of real lemon curd in there. So that's about enough. And depending on your taste, of course, you can always add more of everything. I have a loaf pan that I've prepared with cellophane. And that only goes in because it helps with taking the whole thing out again before serving. I have a sponge cake here that I baked. The recipe actually calls for ladyfingers, but I don't like them. So I make my own sponge, which is a very, very versatile piece of baked good here. I'll cut it just so it fits, so the pieces fit into this loaf pan. The first layer is a little bit of the cream. You just put it in And it's messy, but that's okay. That's why I'm wearing an apron. When you put the layers of the sponge in, that also helps with distributing the cream evenly. So these are pureed raspberries and just a little bit of sugar. The tartness of the raspberries is really complementing the sweetness of the cream. So I'll just dip it in here and be generous. So you have the whole side covered. Then you just press it on top here. You just fill this up like a puzzle. And then you can use the more narrow pieces and fill it in. This one goes here in the back. It's some homemade limoncello that goes on top.
Oh.
Yeah, Max made that. So you don't need a lot of it, and some people don't like alcohol. Then you just leave it out. And be generous, because the sponge should be really soaked. The raspberries on one side, the lemon on the other. It's a very good combination. So I'll put a little bit of more raspberry here. There. Next layer of cream. So you can see this is very fast. It takes more time to freeze it than to make it. As I have mentioned, it's a semifreddo, and that means half frozen.
Oh.
Which then means when we take it out, we don't wait until it's completely thawed out. We'll just wait until it's easy to cut. And then you really have the cream and you have still a little bit of that ice cream texture.
Could you make this well in advance and just leave it in the freezer until you need it?
I have made this, it lasts about 2 months in the freezer.
Okay, great.
It's very, very easy. And when I'm at home, when I make this, let's say I have a dinner party, I make a big one for the crowd, and then I make a couple of small ones, you know, the loaf pans about this size, which is a perfect dessert for 2 or 3 people.
Yeah.
I like to, and sometimes I make it double because it's the same amount of dirty dishes, whether you make 1 or 10.
And it doesn't really matter how many pieces you have, does it? Yeah. It's all going to meld together.
Exactly.
No one's going to see it.
And then the cream will sink in between the spaces. I really like the combination of the colors when you have that nice red and then you have the light yellow or the almost white. The tartness of the raspberries are just adding a lot to the flavor.
Is that the fruit you always prefer for this? Have you ever done it with blueberries or
I have
anything
not.
else colorful? Just raspberries
No.
is the ticket.
Yeah. So, spread this on top.
Cheers to you.
Oh, cheers, cheers.
Yes.
Cheers to Max.
Your son did a great job.
Good.
Good. That's
tell
very
him.
good.
So, put this cellophane over it, every side. There you go. And here it is. We're done. It goes in the freezer. We'll wait maybe 2 hours And then it will be perfect for serving. To us,
we did it, and
Another-
we're smiling, and we are smiling.
another 30 years.
Yes. Another 30 years,
Yes.
definitely.
Yeah, at least.